All right, good morning everyone. We're back out here. Gonna check this trap. Hopefully got something in it this morning. You just never know. Not seeing any activity. Nope. Nothing here happened last night, guys. So our chain's still stretched out here. I can actually see the trap sitting in the water down there. So no activity here last night. So we're just gonna leave this set just like it is. I may go ahead and add a little bit more caster up here on it. I think I'll do that. Add a little bit of caster back to that mud, and then leave it here till in the morning. Some of Judith and Dan's caster to this mound. Right here's our original stick that we used when we first come in here and dated it up. We're just going to put a little bit more on it. That's all right. It fell off that stick there on the ground. No big deal. We got it there like we want it. May do. I actually took some quite a bit of his lure, and I put it in with a little bit of mine. What I did just there, guys, I dropped just a little bit of that on the edge of the water, and that oil and everything in that bait will, I don't know what the word is, permeate, basically just kind of push out into the water, so anything comes by, I'll be for sure to notice it, see that something's going on. Guys, if you'll notice too, just real quick, I just seen it. You got that crossover, and right at the bottom of that crossover would be a perfect place for the conibear. Catch those animals. But if you look right over here on the edge of this thing, I almost bet you those rats are swimming right up here to the corner of this dam. Those rats are going across right there. And you put a 110 right there on the corner of that dam. I bet you'll catch those rats crossing down here on the corner. Right there also a little bit of a crossover. You can tell that beaver actually used it to go down below the dam right here. There's footprints. So just really look at these dams, and what you see at these dams will tell you the best place to put a trap. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here this morning. We're gonna go over there and check out that the other farm the farmer was telling me about a few days ago, where the beaver in there holding a whole lot of water right now. All right, guys, we hadn't made it over there to where the farmer was telling me about. But this ditch right here is one of the major drainage ditches in my area. And last year, right before my surgery, I had this ditch set for some beaver. Caught a couple out of here, but didn't catch a huge number. But I wanted to stop by and check it out and see possibly if they were back in here. Looks like I can see a dam right down here. We'll walk down there and see if we can get a better look at it. We definitely got a dam here. This dam actually washed out. We had some flooding, and this dam completely washed out. I never did get back over here to get it set. So this is another area that's going to have some beaver in it. And it looks like they're all going to be above this point. This is probably the last dam down through here. It's pretty dry below it. I don't see a crossover that gets used regularly. You can see up here's a hole, a bank den of some sort. Water doesn't get up that high and stay in this ditch very long, so I don't believe that's a beaver. But there is some fresh dirt scratched out of it, so definitely something using that if you wanted to set a trap in front of it. Probably catch a coon, possum, as big as it is, possibly a fox or a coyote. But anyway, we'll walk up here under this bridge, see if we can see anything back up this direction. A lot of little bitty chew sticks down through here peeled. Not seeing anything else. Somebody has been down here. There's human footprints right here. So somebody's been down here walking around. That's something to keep in mind if we get traps set. We want them hid. Right over here, when the water got low last year, I found a bank den somewhere right there underneath that tree. Somewhere right through there's a bank den hole. Guys, underneath these bridges, if you end up setting them, getting them set, right here's a coyote track in the mud. Raccoons, your mink. There's a raccoon track here, but these are always good spots to set for a multi-species line. A lot of times this back wall, when you got rocks like this, those skunks will use it. A lot of times you can catch skunks on the high banks underneath these bridges. Of course, raccoons are going to be all over. Your mink are going to be exploring in here, looking for something to eat. All right. Down here's the second dam, guys. Just right around that corner. I can see that other dam. Hopefully you guys will be able to pick it out. So there's another dam there. There'll probably be third, maybe even a fourth dam on up there. We're not going to go look at it today. We're going to get over there and check that other place out. But this will be another area where we can pick up some beavers once we get our line in and get to checking every morning. I have a suspicion this place the farmer was telling me about is a ditch that I trapped 2 or 3 years ago. I think the beaver have moved back into it. There's a lot of bank dens. I think there's actually a hut on the side of that ditch. Picked up a lot of critters, otters, beaver. Good amount of muskrats were in that ditch. So hopefully if it's the same ditch, I'll be familiar with it and be able to know places to set. But I'll check back in with you when we get over there. We made it over here to where he was telling me about this ditch holding water. And this is going to be the very same ditch that I trapped. Got all the beavers out of here. Farmers come in here and knocked the dams out. Tore a hut down and completely drained all this. Right here's a crawl out. There's going to be quite a few beaver moved back in. Right here's where the old hut set. And you can tell all that activity around it. So they're still using it. If I remember right, there's at least 2 entrance holes, maybe 3 in front of this hut. But I noticed a lot of fresh chew sticks down through here. There's a slew of bank dens all up and down this ditch. You can see the county road up here in the bridge. That's where it ended last year. When I head out of here, I'll check the other end of it, make sure they haven't moved on down that ditch. But I bet they're going to just be living in this section here. This is good. I mean, I'm familiar with this ditch. Caught a lot of muskrats, otter, just about everything out of it. Good slide right here. This dam, they didn't completely tear the dam out. They just cut a section of it out. And those beaver come back in here fairly easily and rebuilt this section. And you can tell just where those bushes are grown up, what was there and what wasn't. Last time I trapped it, this ditch had 3 or 4 dams in it, all the way down to a bigger ditch that it drains into. So what they've done, they've just come in here and repaired this first dam and are living in this section right here. So there's going to be maybe 1, 2 beaver. And with it being so dry, they found this water. We're probably a good 5 miles from where I was at the other day looking at that farm. Drove all over. A different farmer had marked the ditch the beaver were living in, tore the dams out, and then the beaver just completely moved out of there. There may be 1 or 2 living in that one section, but there's not a big colony like was in there before. This may be part of that colony. it's a pretty good distance. I don't really know how far they travel or will travel. I guess as far as it takes to find water. But anyway, just right back over this way, about those farthest trees, is a big farm that I've always trapped. That's where the flooded timber's at, where Kinsley tracked me through the woods, and we trap it every year. Those beavers continually move back into the woods, so we're just gonna drive down this ditch a little farther. We're gonna go back over here and come back in here behind it, see if there might be another pair, colony of beaver living somewhere else down through here, and locate them, and then we'll go over there and check on those woods and see what it looks like, and check that area out while we're here. Something else I thought of when I was driving over here, the camera doesn't relay it good. But a big reason I do this YouTube channel is to be able to show my trap line, show things that I do in order to get the trap line done. Hoping that some veteran trappers might pick up little tips that'll help them, and then also the new guys that are wanting to get into trapping. Just show you the way that I do it so that you can develop your own way of doing things. But one thing I thought of that the camera doesn't convey very well is the mileage, how much you travel. Just since these 3 days that I've been recording, I've already traveled 130 miles, and that's just driving around the house. I mean, I hadn't even gone that far from my house yet. Maybe 15 miles from the house is the farthest I've gone. I've just been driving these field roads looking for these colonies. And that's something you as a viewer, if you don't have your own trap line, is something you don't really put together and pick up on. It's just the mileage and the amount of time, the commitment that it takes to get out here and catch these animals. You know, a lot of guys don't have they've got a regular job and can't do it but on weekends. You know, I'm fortunate enough that I can do this all winter long and commit to doing it almost every day all winter long, weather permitting, and that allows me to put a lot of numbers up. If that's something you're interested in, is putting a lot of numbers up, then you're going to be putting a lot of miles in. You're going to be putting a lot of traps in. The more traps you get in, the more fur you're gonna catch and bring home with you. But anyway, just something I thought of and thought I'd share. All right, guys, here's the next dam down. And actually, the water's not in here, not because the beaver hadn't fixed the dam, because they have come in here and fixed this dam. The water's not in here because we've just been in a drought. Hadn't had the rain to fill it up. So you can tell right here, hopefully you guys can see it on camera, right there is a crossover where they're traveling out of this little ditch into that big ditch. So you would definitely pick one up there. And I almost bet, you can see the water's even lower here. I almost bet there's still another dam still yet down here, just don't have water. But we'll get down, drive on down here just a little bit. We're not too far from that big dam. You can actually see that taller grass in the middle of the ditch. That's that big dam we were just at. And then maybe 50 yards, 60 yards down here is this second dam. But we'll go on down and see if there might be. If I remember right, I think there was about 4 in here when I trapped it the last time. So we'll go down here and see how many they put back in this little section of ditch. All right, guys, here's the third dam, and good sized dam. Not any cutout. You can see the crossover that the animals are using going over it. So again, we'd set this dam, even though there's no water, we'd still set it because those animals are still traveling, going over to this big ditch. Just no water, just a drought. But anyway, we'll get over here in a few weeks and we'll get this ditch set too and see if we can pick these beavers up out of here. Guys, we made it to where this little ditch drops off into this bigger drainage. And look over here, this bigger drainage, just barely holding any water in it at all. There's several bank dens just right down here through this area that I trapped last time because this was holding water. And this right here is a ditch that those beaver are living in right now. I had those dams built. We'll walk right over here and see. Let's see, it's completely dry down here at this end. Completely dry. I got some coyote tracks down in here, so they're traveling it. We'll put up right there, be a perfect spot for a snare. Catch those predators as they're passing through, get them thinned out. You can see he uses quite a bit. Raccoon and those dog tracks, so he's coming up in here pretty regular. When we get over and get it set, you can see those old bank dens here where these two ditches come together on that other side. Last time I trapped this, there was 2 colonies living there. I had one living in this side ditch holding water in it, and then probably a quarter of a mile down this big ditch there was another dam and another colony living in it. Almost seems like I can see their last dam right there of that colony. But we're gonna go back over here this next field road, come up this back side of this ditch and give this big ditch right here a good look, and see if there's another colony in here. All right, right over here this tree line, you can see that corner is where we're just at. Walked down into that big ditch that was dry, and then like I said earlier, last season there was another colony that was living between this crossing right here and that ditch. So we just want to see if there's any water in here. It's not, it's completely dry. So almost bet there's not going to be another colony up here yet. But we're going to go ahead and drive down here and just to make sure, you know, there's not one in a little section. And basically at this point we're looking for water. We're just looking for water being held in here. Here's one of those old dams when that colony was in here last time. I actually caught a few beaver at it. But yeah, we're not holding water. You can see, I don't know if you guys can see the bigger trees right up here. So another 200 yards up here is where that ditch that we were on comes into this big ditch. And this dam that we can see right up here is probably that dam that we were seeing looking back this way. But you can tell, I mean, there's nothing going on here. Just hadn't had the rain, the drought. The dam's still here, so it would be holding water up to the top of this dam, but we just not had the rain to make it happen. So you know, something to keep in mind if we start getting a lot of rain, to come back in here and check this area, because there'll definitely be animals move in here if this starts to hold water. But for right now, this group of beavers is going to be concentrated up here on the front end of that ditch where it's flooded. So hopefully we'll get in here and get those caught. But this will always be an area we can come back to and catch beaver. That's one good thing about trapping. Once you start getting your areas and your terrain learned, you'll be able to come back year after year after year to the same spots and pick up those animals. Even if you caught them all out of there within a year, 2-year time period, those new animals have found that habitat and have moved into it to claim it as their own. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead, probably won't have it on camera, but I'm gonna drive these ditches over here in this area, just see if I can find another colony. And if I do, I'll show you guys what I find. If not, I'll see you when we get over here to this flooded timber here in a little bit. All right, guys, we're over here. This one area I showed videos, me and Kinsley tracking through these woods, flooded timber. Showed this beavers had a dam built right here, and I talked about this dam. The farmers coming in every year, digging it out, pulling this culvert out, draining the water, and that such. But looks like they just recently come over here and dug this dam back out, drained the water out. I was hoping to use this culvert to get over there and drive down the edge of these woods. As I pulled up, I seen a bunch of deer taking off. There wasn't any splashing, so I know the woods isn't flooded on this end. There's a good chance those beaver, if you'll remember those videos, we crossed on up here and walked back out into the woods quite a bit to had a dam set out there. So chances are they're going to start working on that upper end, start building it back. Probably when I get back here in a couple of weeks, they'll probably already start building this dam back right here. But it's an issue every year, even with me trapping it. This is an area that those beavers always move back into because of all the habitat out here already built up. But we can see, just since the farmers have pulled this culvert out of here, we can see all kinds of animal tracks in the bottom of this ditch. I'm not going to crawl down there and see what they are, but I'm going to say raccoon. If an otter's come through, there'll be otter tracks, the beaver, muskrat. Just basically every animal that's living over here is going to be using this right now, traveling this ditch. There'd be a perfect place, set a snare or a trap underneath that log, next down in that ditch. That'd be a good spot to set. And you got to be careful coming in here and working around where the farmers are working, because say I set traps down in this little gully here, there's a good chance before I get back over here tomorrow, or before I get done with these sets and pull the traps, those farmers will come in here and take that culvert set back down there and start carrying it, never even know the traps are there. So that's something you got to be aware of and pay attention to if you're going to set areas like this. You got to be in good communication with your farmer, let them know you got the traps there, and so none of their workers, make sure their workers know, or don't even set them to begin with. Just move on down here. I mean, that trail's obvious. Just come on down here and put your set somewhere farther out where they're not going to be working. You won't have any issue. While we're over in this area, I'm going to go back over here. I showed that group of trees in our videos yesterday, but I'm going to go back over there to those set of trees. I had one Bridger number 5 I made a catch in. I believe it was before I started recording, but something pulled my anchor out. I'm figuring it's probably a pretty good size otter, but I lost that trap. I'm going to go back over there now while it's dry and walk that ditch, see if I can find that trap possibly laying in the bottom of that ditch. Anyway, that's the plan. We'll look over while we're over there. There was a pretty good colony in it. I got most of them thinned out. I'm not 100% I got all of them, so it's possible that there's still some water in that ditch. And that's going to be the name of the game this year, is finding water. Even a lot of our bigger drainage, main drainage ditches in the area are completely dry, so there's just not any water moving right now. Still dealing with the consequences of that drought this summer. But anyway, guys, I'll get over there, and hopefully, maybe with a little bit of luck, we can find that trap. And as we head out, we'll probably come back. Well, it'll take a long way around to get over here, but we'll come back down this side of these woods and drive it back out, and just see if we can tell those beaver are starting to build those dams back up down through here. On up here around, once we get into the timber, there's a pretty good sized dam there I've trapped in the past. We'll see if it's active, and if there's a colony still in this timber up through here. I'm just going to walk along this edge and just watch. Water's pretty clear, so that's a plus. Might be able to see it laying along the bottom. Guys, you know, I've talked about the water. It's going to be a little bit of a different year because of not much water this year on the beaver trapping. But while I've been out scouting, looking around, I'm seeing a whole lot of predator tracks down in the bottom of these drainages that are dry. So you guys that are more of a predator trapper, or if you do a lot of predator trapping and you get out on your line this year and you notice something's different, they're not in the normal areas that they're in, you might want to get out and look in the bottom of these drainage ditches, because I believe their travel way has changed, so they may not be using the same travel areas that they use when these drainage ditches got water in them. You can see right here a lot of coon tracks, but I'm seeing pad marks too. There's a bobcat and coyotes are they're hunting the bottom of these dry drainages. So just something to keep in mind when y'all start getting your predator sets out or looking at locations and you're not seeing what you normally see. Go to some of these drainage ditches in your areas, and I bet you you'll find where those animals are at. Just something to think on. I was really kind of expecting to find that trap between here and there. Normally, those animals don't get too far away. If it was a big otter, and just depending on the catch, a lot of times they'll get tangled up and end up drowning. And all these little ripples, guys, that's why them predators are down here hunting. Well, a little bit of water there is, that's where all the frogs are at, and the crawdads, and the little bit of fish are in these areas that are holding water, these puddles, and that's why those predators are down here hunting like they are. I tell you what, too, when I first got into trapping, I would walk a lot of these ditches, and I'd make my sets all along these ditches and pick up quite a few animals. And it doesn't take, you don't have to travel, drive hundreds of miles to catch animals. You just got to drive that far to catch a specific kind of animal, because you've got to always be shifting the area you're at, catching new animals. But if you're just getting started or just got so many traps or don't want to travel big distances, just find you one ditch like this right here and go to setting traps for different species. You'll catch everything here. I mean, you'll have a certain number of beavers, certain number of raccoons, certain number of muskrats. Otters are going to be coming through. So every kind of fur that you can catch, you'll be able to target them along these ditches like this, these drainages. So just get out and walk them, keep your eyes open, look, and you're gonna see areas stick out to you. So this is a dam I've trapped in the past, guys. And when I think I showed a few videos of it last year. I know me and Kinsley caught a raccoon here. I don't remember if I picked up any beaver or not, but when I first started trapping this area, that dam was as big as this bank right here. I mean, it was huge. I could just barely take a small step off onto the top of that dam. And over the years, the floods have washed it off. And me catching the beaver out of here, there's never been the number of population in here to build it back up that big. But they've definitely still a beaver or two in here. There's some fresh mud on here, so they're working this dam. There's a huge, right there is a perfect bank den hole where those beaver are living. Let's see if we can get across here. This may be, I'm sinking down above my ankle into mud. We're going to try to walk through here and just look along that ditch. But right there, there's going to be a lot of footprints going in and out of there. And we'll see what kind of animals are using it. You can see how big that thing is. Amazing. I'm just seeing, I'm not seeing any beaver tracks. I see, it looks like an otter track right there. A bunch of a bunch of raccoon tracks, otter tracks, maybe even some mink. There's so many tracks, it's hard to differentiate in them, but I can definitely see otters been using this quite a bit. Coons have been too. But any animal comes through here is gonna check these holes out. So right here, I mean, if you're in this area, you want a couple, at least one trap, couple of traps in these holes right here, catch those animals. With the bottom being completely muddy, those beaver runs really stand out because they'll be hard packed from those beavers traveling it quite a bit. Right here too, guys, those dens, these not getting, it's above water level, not getting as much use as that one was. But the raccoons, skunks, I mean, anything in that area is going to be checking these holes out. But when you're walking these ditches, you'll know if you got a good population of beaver or not, because you can tell how soft the bottom is. It's just muddy. I'm sinking, you know, a little below shin deep in mud. And I haven't hit a trail that's hard packed. So it tells me there's not a lot of beaver living in here, because they're not traveling this ditch constantly and packing that mud down. I can see right up here ahead of me is another beaver dam. You know, we're on the drainage bottom end of the ditch. So as we go up, you know, those beavers above that next dam, you know, it may be different. It may have a hard packed trail to where those beavers are traveling it every day using it. Whereas down here on this end, they're not. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind there's not going to be a lot of beaver in here because there's no hard packed travel way. But you can see right up here ahead of us, guys, a good spot for a 330. You guys pick it out, see well enough. You know, you got all this debris right here, and then right here on this right side, you got that one log laying in. There's a channel goes in there. Right there at the end of that log, that neck down area, perfect place for a 330. Make a set. Any animal coming through is going to go through there. But I'm not going to walk this mud anymore, guys, so we're gonna turn around and get back out of here on the truck, go drive around and look a little more. All right, guys, I don't know if y'all are going to be able to tell it or not, but about 150 yards out there is a pair of coyotes. We were talking about them traveling these ditches and then get out of here, and you got two of them running out in the middle of the field. Anyway, just hoping you guys can see them two specks out there in that field. Pretty cool. That's why you always set two traps too. You got a pair of them coming through. You guys are able to pick up them two cows through that field. Getting a little bit closer, but we're not getting on the edge. So we made it back up there to the flooded timber. Right up here's a little dam that me and Kinsley walked across, and then she actually tracked me back through the woods here, back here to a few sets that I had. Now, I can tell by looking at this, you know, like I mentioned earlier, I've trapped this year after year, and beavers always move back in here. But I can tell by looking, usually over the years, the water's been flooded all up in here to where all this tall grass is now. So with that tall grass being there, it tells me the water never got up that high during the summer. And by the water not getting up that high, that tells me that there's not a big colony of beaver in here. Probably just one or two that I left in here last year when I trapped. But we follow this ditch on back, and I almost guarantee you they've already started building those dams up. Of course, we hadn't had no rain. Those farmers pulled that big dam out down here, drained all the water out of here, and there hadn't been enough rain in here to fill it back up. But as the rain fills back up, starts filling this back up, those beavers will start moving around a lot more. But right now, in order to find them, we'd have to go all the way back in here to where they're living at, and try to pick them up there right now. All right, guys, made it back to the house today. I've been kind of hesitant about setting traps, or you guys might be wondering why we're finding all these colonies of beaver. And here in Arkansas, you can trap beaver pretty much year round if they're a nuisance. But without trapping season being in, any other animals that you catch is incidental. You've got to turn them loose, or you can't harvest them. So that's part of the hesitation of not getting any sets put in yet. The other part I've mentioned before in the last couple of videos, the deer hunters, our youth hunt is coming up this weekend, and then the weekend after is the rifle hunt here in Arkansas. And just don't want to interfere with those deer hunters. It's just better to let them harvest their animals, have the woods right now, and then later on, once season comes in, then I can get out there and start catching these animals. But another big part of it is this right here. I've got several animals, or not animals, but several hides in this freezer left over from last year that I never did get put up. So it's hard to start catching other animals when I know that I've got this stuff that's unfinished in this freezer. I'm gonna lay 3 or 4 of these hides out, and I'll just lay them here get the sink cleaned out, and lay them down in that sink, let them start thawing, and then I can start working these beavers and get these hides put up. We'll start off with 3 right now, and then it'll take them a good day to thaw out, but we can scrape them, and then each day we'll come in, pull out a few more, however many we want to work that day, and we'll get this freezer cleaned out. Looks like I got about at least another 4 or 5 down in there. You guys seen my video on catching the mama and the baby skunks? Well, here's those babies, and I'll use those later on in the season when I start getting my predator sets put out. We'll take these and we'll use those as bait for our predators. Anyway, guys, I put up all my beavers on hoops instead of boards, and really the only reason I do that is because that's how I learned when I first got into it. First started putting fur up, I was able to get my hands on some of these hoops, and that's just the way I learned. I'd never tried it on boards, never done it on boards. I've become pretty efficient at getting them put up on hoops, so that's just the way that I do it. And get time, may try to put together a video on how I hang these beaver hides on these hoops. But anyway, just wanted to share that, and another 2-3 weeks we'll be getting after them hard every day. We've got more than enough locations found already to get started, and there's still several locations that I haven't been to yet. I think are going to have some beaver in them, so just with what we found already, that's going to keep us busy for a while. So I probably won't do any more scouting. In the morning, I'll probably go over there to that one trap I've got set, and we'll either have a catch or we won't. I'll probably go ahead and just pull that out of there, and then we'll have that beaver in it, or we won't. We'll leave them be until we start getting all of our sets out. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, tuning in, and we'll see you next video.